Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 96 of the MTB podcast, presented and hosted by Worldwide Cyclery. I am Jeff.
I'm Jared.
And I'm Liam.
And today we are going to talk about various cool mountain bike things. I think we have some good topics today. What do you guys think?
Excellent topics.
Our recent trip to Mammoth Mountain in Central California?
The Sierra Nevadas.
Sierra Nevadas,
Sierra.
but Eastern Sierras. But is that
I'd consider it
Central?
NorCal.
NorCal?
Yeah.
Well, Mammoth, yeah, it's rad. It's in the Sierra Nevadas.
Yeah.
The new Maxxis tire, that's
Yep.
exciting. OChain, which we talked about briefly on the last podcast, and we just recently made a YouTube short, which is a short form video on YouTube, if you didn't know. Did you make that a reel yet for Instagram?
We're posting this one to YouTube first.
Oh.
YouTube is getting an exclusive look on this one.
Exclusive look
Yeah.
for the short
Changing it
form
up.
videos.
Yep.
OChain, anyways, we talked about it last time. It is confusing everyone, and there's some hilarious comments that we're going to read to you to explain how it's confusing people.
Yeah.
And we're also going to do a quick rundown on the trending mountain bike products of the last 30/90 days since we skipped our normal trending mountain bike products monthly video in June, and we plan to skip it in July as well because we're just doing other things, but we'll get back on it in August.
And maybe August.
Maybe we might
Because we're
skip
going to be gone.
because we're going to go to the
all of
Breck
August,
Epic. The Breck Epic mountain bike race. You're
Yeah.
racing it, Liam. Are you ready?
Liam's ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be fine. What is
Yeah.
it? It's 5 days of racing straight?
6 days of racing. Each day varies from like 35 to 45 miles with like 3,500 to I think like 5,500, maybe like a 6,500 foot day. And it Breckenridge sits at 9,000 feet elevation. So me being a beach boy, it's going to hurt.
Yeah, that's a lot of racing. But
It is.
Jared and I are going to be there documenting it as newscasters and making a YouTube video out of it. Hopefully, will turn out funny or maybe terrible. Who knows?
I mean, even if it is terrible, it'll be funny.
We'll enjoy it.
Yeah, we will enjoy it. at
Our
the very
moms
least.
will love it.
Yeah, exactly. Hi,
It
Mom.
should be good. And then, of course, we're going to get into all sorts of various listener questions, as always, to bring you mountain bike knowledge and simultaneously laughter. Speaking of laughter, maybe you will laugh at this sound effect we're going to play, which is going to be me making dirt bike noises with this high-quality kazoo that my mom got me for Christmas about 15 years ago.
Amazing.
Was it pretty good?
Yeah,
All right.
it's fantastic.
Cool. Kazoos, man. We should talk about the April 1st prank that we did in 2019, one of these podcasts.
We should.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about that. It has a lot to do with kazoos. Well, that's for next episode. Let's talk about our company trip to Mammoth. Did you write 2/3 company trip?
Yeah,
Did you
because
do
it's
that?
2/3 of our
We should-
offices.
we
I
should-
thought you did that.
No, that was funny. So we have a store in Southern California, one in Reno, Nevada, and one in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And our stores in California and Nevada meet mostly halfway. It's close to halfway, 3 hours from Reno, 5 hours from Newberry. And yeah, we did this last year. It was a ton of fun. All of us met there and rode bikes for the whole weekend and camped and swam in lakes and had some nice adult beverages and a lot of LaCroix. I drank several LaCroix. It's really hard to stay hydrated at what is Mammoth at? 7,000 feet or
Yeah,
something?
something like
7
that.
base,
The
yeah.
base, yeah.
You got to drink a lot of water
Yeah.
if you're riding bikes all day.
You do.
Yeah, we just did it. It was amazing. It was a ton of fun. Mammoth is incredible. I really enjoy Mammoth because I just think the resort has incredible riding and all the surrounding local trail bikey trails are really fun. It's kitty litter. That's what people call the dirt there.
Yeah,
very
It's
loose.
very loose and sandy. Do you like it?
I love Mammoth.
You like the
definitely-
dirt?
I do. It takes you a
'Cause
little
it's-
while
it's
to
polarizing.
get used to it, but once you're used to it, I mean, it's super fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. What do you like it, Liam?
This was the most fun I've ever had riding it. I'm not gonna lie, in the past I haven't really loved it.
You rode a very different bike this time.
I was on a different bike this time. And I just think I knew going there that it was gonna be loose, picked the right tires.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I love Mammoth and the Sierra Nevadas in
Yeah,
general.
same.
I love the area and stuff, so I'm just stoked to be there. But yeah, no, I had a blast riding this time.
Yeah. The dirt is kind of polarizing because some people are kind of used to riding sandy dirt like that. Other people are totally not. So it's just a lot, it could be hard to get used to it. Speaking of you riding a different bike there, I thought that was pretty funny so you rode the Forestall. Which one did you ride?
The Sirion.
The Sirion.
170, 170 mil
And
travel.
everyone, including the various people that took your bike off of the lift, were like, "Whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
What is that?" They were all bewildered by this
Never seen one.
screen in
Yeah.
the top tube and had never seen a bike that nice with a name on it they hadn't recognized. And it was cool. That bike was a bit of a highlight that trip, and a lot of people were really interested.
Yeah, it definitely is polarizing. If you know what you're looking at, you're like, well, I've never seen that before. Is it an e-bike? Is it not an e-bike? Because it doesn't really look like one. There's a screen in the top tube that looks like an Android. And it happens to be coral pink. So,
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's very unique. It's cool.
That bike is cool. I wonder when e-bikes are going to get classified into, I don't know, what are we going to call them? Short distance, long distance, heavy, light? I mean, I think weight makes the most sense because as the battery technology
even like
and
full
the motor
size,
technology,
half size might be a good way to
power,
put them.
full power.
We'll
half
see
power.
Well, the
part about
power's
power,
going to
though,
change, though.
Oh, that's true. They're going to
that'll
have more power.
increase, right?
Like battery size, I guess, right? I mean,
But I think that'll change too with efficiency, right? So right now, a certain watt battery is going to get you a 20-mile ride, and in the future, it's going to get you a 40-mile ride.
yeah.
So I don't know. I think it comes down to weight, right? Because the Forestall, the one you were riding, which I rode to recently, is 40 pounds.
40 pound stock. Once I put like downhill casing tires on it and, a few other bits and pieces, I think it's about 43 pounds. But that's like ready to ride, like proper tires and everything. So bottle cages, pedals, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that thing's light and it feels really fun and impressive to ride. But that made a big difference for you riding there.
It did, and I think that's why I had more fun. Was I actually love the weight of that bike?
Yeah.
40 pounds at
planted.
a rough ski resort with sandy-ish terrain is pretty amazing.
And the weight's in the right spot, so your wheels and tires are still light, but the weight's like perfectly centered.
Yeah.
It helps me being light hold some traction, and I've seen this year especially, it's always kind of been happening, but this year I feel like more downhill World Cup racers are putting lead on the bottom of their bikes to add weight.
Wow.
Seems like anyone around the 165 pound range or under is bolting lead weights to the bottom of their bike.
Really?
Or taping. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool the amount of weird little things that always happen in the racing scene. It just shows you that it's never fully figured out.
No.
It's like make the bikes lighter and then they're making them heavier. I guess if you put up the weight low, I mean, that definitely helps. Like when I rode that bike, it was huge. But also like at Mammoth, you got these sections where you're traversing like half the mountain. This is a huge mountain, right? And just to get to the trails you want to ride, I mean, you're doing a good amount of pedaling. And like I was on my downhill bike and you guys on the e-bikes, I'm like, you're gone.
Yeah.
Like, wow. All right. I see the advantage there.
Yeah, even those switchbacky, the blue square trails, which
Blue square.
It's a blue square.
The
entire concept of green circle, blue square, black diamond, double black diamond, red diamond is so confusing.
I know.
Well, it comes from the ski world, right? I mean,
It's exactly where it comes from.
yeah.
But in other countries, they have grades. Like New Zealand, Australia, they use grade 1 through 5, and there's a website that defines the difference. It's pretty cool. I was just impressed.
That's a little more scientific.
It's a little bit more scientific. Yeah, hardly. But those guys. So where I was getting to, the blue square trails, which had switchbacks on them, not very steep. Those awkward stall, slowy switchbacks. The way you could pedal and just push right out of those on an e-bike.
Yeah.
And I was like, when you're not on an e-bike, you're like, oh, this is a pain in my arse right now. But anyways, Mammoth was cool. If you haven't ridden there, we'd highly recommend it. It's an amazing bike park and just great area to camp, or I mean, there's plenty of resort, hotels and lodging there too. So it's
And the
it's a
village
nice
is
place.
cool. There's tons of lakes. It's called Mammoth Lakes because there's like 6 lakes?
Ton of
around
lakes.
there?
I mean,
Tons of lakes.
even just
Everything
like they
big
can
and small.
drive to, right?
Yeah.
And a bunch of lakes in the backcountry and stuff if you're into backpacking and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So we recommend going there if you haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of terrain and dirt, tires.
Never get tired of this.
Never get tired of it. I knew a tire pun was coming. I just knew it. Maxxis released a new tire at Eurobike. Eurobike happened.
Yeah.
Man, maybe we should cover some interesting things that happened there, but none of us went there, so we didn't get to see it in person, unfortunately. I don't know. Nothing shocking came out of it that I saw, but it was cool to see Maxxis, which is a big dog in the tire space, obviously, for the mountain bike world. Came out with a new tire called the Forecaster. Well, technically, it's
Updated
It's
tire.
updated
but it looks
Forecaster.
nothing like the old one.
Yeah. It's like a
barely.
Recon and a Forecaster had a baby.
And the Dissector
And
was also
I guess
in
so,
that.
right? Yeah.
And an Assegai.
Dissector was also like, hey, let me in there.
There's a big old thing going on. They all made it and had this tire.
Yeah, the Forecaster, we've kind of been told about this for a while, but with current, supply chain and blah, 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 that you've heard too much about. It took a while to come out, but now it's here, and it looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
We just got a couple samples.
Yeah,
right?
it kind of slots right between what I think it kind of blends, like maybe the Recon and an Assegai in the middle for a perfect like trail tire. I mean, they call it downcountry, but like, let's be honest, this is just a trail bike tire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it'd be great on a trail bike. I mean,
It looks really good. I mean, we talk about it all the time. We made that one video, which has been kind of a holy grail for a lot of our customers and friends and everyone else. It's the Maxxis tire combos that we like, and we put it on that graph of, lightweight, fast rolling, all the way to the other end, which is kind of heavy, slow rolling, maximum traction. And this Forecaster is, I don't know, kind of in between a Dissector and a DHF/DHR.
yeah, because it's not super light, right?
Well, it's the same weight as a Dissector.
I'd say the Dissector
which is kind of light.
Very
It's lighter than a
I thought it was
DHR2 and
heavier
lighter
than
than
a
a DHS.
Dissector.
No, it's
No,
the
by
same.
like 8 grams,
Okay.
which doesn't
Yeah.
count because there's about a 20 gram plus or minus on tire weights because they're never perfect.
I'd say it slots as a sidestep to the Dissector with more transition knob. I'd say it's more than the Recon, but not quite into Minion or Assegai territory.
Yeah. But do you think it'll have more traction than a Dissector just by looking at it and holding it in your hand?
In certain situations, yeah.
But in other situations, no?
But the knobs are taller on a Dissector, right? By a little bit.
Maybe a touch. Dissector would be a better braking tire. It's more of like a row of knobs where this is a alternating
Might
pattern.
roll faster though?
This one might roll a little faster. It's going to have more traction, especially up front, I think, on loose over hard, because you have that transition knob. You're not going to have that drift to catch like the Dissector has.
Yeah. Well, we got to ride it.
Yeah, we got to ride it. We don't know. I have
Yeah.
2 samples here, and they're going to get installed this week. So,
Yeah, I'm excited to test that thing out. It looks good. It looks definitely like a tire that I'm into because I ride trail bikes a lot, and that looks like a really good trail bike tire.
perfect front and rear. For you, you'll probably run it front with a Recon rear or something like that.
Yeah, because right now I have a Dissector front and Recon rear on my light trail bike, and I like that.
But yeah, you could probably run it front and rear, right? I mean,
I'm gonna do that for testing and just see, right?
nice.
Maxxis claims it to be a Goldilocks of kind of tire range. Currently on Maxxis's website, they only have one SKU, and it's 29 by 2.4, 60 TPI casing, dual compound, EXO casing, 945 grams. I would love to see this in an EXO Plus casing.
Oh, they'll do it eventually.
Yeah.
If it's popular, they'll do it.
Yeah, and a 3C compound.
yeah.
I think that would make this tire really awesome. So, yeah.
Yep.
Pretty sweet.
Well, cool. Forecaster with a K. Forekastr.
Forecaster.
Kind of like Recon with a K.
Yep. They like to do that.
Cool.
Cool, dude.
Cool, dude. Well, let's now jump over to OChain. So OChain, we talked about this brand last time on the podcast. They have made essentially a spider, I guess you could call it. So it mounts to your crank, then your chain ring mounts to that. And what it does is it adds play in between that chain ring. The idea here, I mean, you can add to this if you want, Liam, but the idea is that, so suspension designs, more importantly, longer travel suspension designs, this is where it becomes more apparent, will have some level of pedal kickback, whereas the suspension cycles through, it'll want to pull backwards on the chain and like pull your feet backwards. That will make your suspension not work as good as if you had the bike with no chain, right? No chain, OChain. I think maybe they were going somewhere. I think maybe that's where they were going with it. I can't speak for them, but anyway, so it adds a little bit of play there, and this is the exact kind of thing that High Pivot is trying to solve. The same kind of concept, right? Is this sort of this chain growth pedal kickback issue, make your suspension work better? What?
Will it be a high pivot with an idler?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you have to have
with
an
an
idler.
idler. Yeah,
Because if you don't, this is the reason
Good
why
clarification.
a high pivot design in the past hasn't worked is it does create way too much pedal kickback and feedback into your feet.
Yeah, you got to have the idler on there. Yeah. So OChain. So anyways, Jared slaps together the YouTube short, the short form video on YouTube. And it kind of shows this kind of how the OChain works. And there's some hilarious comments of people are just very confused on why on earth you would buy a high engagement hub and then ruin the whole thing with an OChain. And do you have the comments pulled up?
Yeah.
See, okay, you got any
well,
funny
the top
ones you can
comment
read?
is the perfect complement to your ultra high engagement hub.
Yeah.
This guy says, I thought the point was to increase engagement, not decrease. Am I missing something? Yes. Well, yeah, basically, I mean, the OChain like allows more or eliminates pedal kickback in the way that you can increase the degrees of engagement, or I guess reduce the degrees. So you can have your bike go through the travel without the.
I guess it would essentially do the same thing as a low engagement hub, would it not?
Well,
That's what,
basically, but
that's what I'd love to test.
I looked into this a little bit, and it sounds like the main difference is that you could be riding hypothetically, and your hub could be in between engagement points. So, like, your hub could engage the next pawl or ratchet, whatever, whereas the OChain would eliminate that factor.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could go through your whole travel if you like, you know how you can basically swap out the elastomers to increase or reduce the engagement of the OChain. So if you make it like maxed out, you can have your bike go through like the majority of its travel without engaging the hub at all.
Yeah. Essentially eliminating any pedal kickback that
Right.
there would be from your hub engaging.
Right. So therefore making it feel like your bike is chainless.
Yeah, I mean, they were inspired by Nico Mullally's 4th place World Champs run and Aaron Gwynn's famous winning run from Leo Gang.
Yeah. Which were two World Cup downhill racers that
Snapped
so
chains.
Nico snapped his chain right out of the gate, and so did
Aaron.
Gwynn. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people know that.
yeah.
It's no secret. I mean, honestly, almost any bike, the more travel it has, the more apparent this is. Go to your most known downhill run and take your chain off and give it a try, and you'll realize, oh wow,
It feels good.
it feels different. Like the way your cranks move and your suspension moves is very different with no chain, and that's kind of the concept of this thing. So it is hard to wrap your head around. It is very deep in the weeds of bike nerd stuff. And we've learned this with the the YouTube short and people just being totally bewildered. It's kind of a confusing product, but a lot of professional EWS riders are using this thing. There's a lot of professionals in this segment that are trying this out and utilizing it. So there's some merit to this concept and this design, albeit for a small segment of riders looking for a specific type of attribute for their bike to perform. I guess you could say.
Yeah,
I'd say it's pretty much creates you a more supple rear end off the top, having that on there. But I mean, yeah, like you said, professionals, the Atherton team's running it, YT team, Scott, Canyon, they're all running it. So Nico essentially designed his latest model bike around it.
Yeah.
Because he could run it. He could make the idler slightly higher, but not run or the pivot slightly higher and not run an idler above that. So, yeah.
And also there's I looked at the OChain website, and there's a ton of research and, graphs and everything, like a ton of information based on like, the effects of the product, like installed on different bikes and like your average downhill bike,
it's not a simple product.
No.
I mean, the actual physical product is a pretty impressive feat of engineering. So no one's going to do that unless there's some merit behind why you would do that and the use case for it.
Yeah. And they're basically saying like, depending on the track you're riding, like you can swap out those elastomers and you'll notice more of a difference. Like a super technical downhill track, like if you make it so there's more play, then it'll feel even better. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah, that is. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot to unpack there. And it does take you getting a little bit nerdy and deep in the weeds of mountain bike suspension stuff to understand why that product even exists, especially, given the whole high engagement hub thing. Which this is an interesting
Transition
to the trending mountain bike products. And the first product we were going to mention, which has been mentioned several times in our various, so we typically do a monthly YouTube video of trending mountain bike products for the month. And this product in particular has been in there so many times. It's the DT Swiss Star Ratchet kit that has 54 teeth, 54 points of engagement, I guess. And that product has been a top-selling product for years, literally multiple years, which is wild. So a lot of bikes come with DT Swiss hubs that have the 18-tooth engagement driver in them, or ratchet kit in them, 18 points of engagement over the whole range. And then you can upgrade for $120 or something like that to the 54 tooth one, and it gives you 54 points of engagement rather than 18, which makes a huge difference when you're in technical climbing. You need to kind of backpedal for a second, or when you get on the cranks out of a corner. It just makes the engagement higher for it's just way you can upgrade your hub to a higher engagement, which usually isn't possible with any hub, but the way that DT Switch ratchet kit system works, it is. So yeah, that's pretty funny. Even this whole OChain thing, because I remember even Nico telling me when he was riding DT Swiss wheels, when he was riding on the Scott factory downhill race team, he was specifically putting in the 18-tooth ones to reduce the engagement to have the same effect that this OChain thing is causing. And this is 5 years ago.
Because it just boils down to
now I
personal
see why
right?
people are so confused.
Some people want more engagement and some people don't.
Well, on a trail bike, this makes a ton of sense.
Yeah,
you're
totally.
not super concerned on, and it's not as much of a noticeable difference of the way your suspension reacts when you have 115 mils of travel,
right,
or even 130.
Yeah, like a cross country or trail bike. You're not going to put OChain on that, right?
No.
I mean,
that wouldn't make as much sense.
No,
you wouldn't get the benefits. Whereas a high engagement hub actually, is noticeable. There's just less dead space when you go to pedal. Yeah. We made a video about it. Which is, did you know that?
Yeah.
Years ago. I look hilarious in it because it just, I don't know. I feel like I look hilarious. Whenever you look at your own self years ago, you're like, oh, I look ridiculous, But I think everyone does that.
Yeah. You still kind of do though.
Yeah, you're valid point. But yeah, it's still a top selling product, which is amazing.
It's a great upgrade for a DT Swiss hub. I mean, especially if you have a trail bike and you want better engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty cool. So aside from that, we have the Fox 38, which has been a top selling fork for quite a long time now.
Yeah.
In particular, the 170 mil travel one for 29-inch wheeled bikes.
Great fork.
Yeah, it is a good fork. Yeah, that fork is phenomenal. I remember when I first rode that, I was just like, wow, this is really good. This feels like a downhill fork.
Yeah.
But it's lighter, and it was amazing. I was super impressed with it.
It's got bleed valves.
Bleed valves. Yeah, it's got bleed valves. There's a
big bleed valve guy.
Big bleed valve guy. There's at the moment, this podcast will probably go live a few days after this Instagram story goes live, where I'm kind of making fun of bleed valves at the top of Mammoth Mountain, which is 11,000 feet, because there was the bleed valve thing about the equalization for elevation, and then the pressure buildup. It wasn't elevated. It's just, anyway.
I guess, more so pressure buildup. I don't know, but
I was making fun of it.
Might be able to still catch it on the YouTube stories because those last longer.
Occasionally, I like to make fun of, these negligible, quote unquote, upgrades that each new product comes out with.
Which is a fair game. I mean,
yeah.
Just because the bike industry
still make a difference, Yeah. Anyways, so it does have, the Fox 38 does have bleed valves. GX Eagle Access Kit.
Oh yeah.
So
big fan.
Yeah, you like that, huh? You like that a lot too.
Yeah,
huh?
We both have them.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, that put wireless electronic SRAM drivetrains in a totally different price point, and people loved that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is good. I was shocked at that retail price point that those came in at. I was thinking SRAM could have asked for more dollars than that. But yeah, people love them. So, and you can get the upgrade kit, which has the controller, aka shifter, derailleur. What else does it have?
Battery, charger,
multi-tool,
kind
of the necessary things.
Toaster with the QR code to download.
If you have an existing EX, if you have an existing Eagle drivetrain of any kind, for the most part, you can just buy this upgrade kit for GX Eagle Access, AXS, which just means it's electronic. That's a confusing name, AXS. How does that have anything to do with electronic drivetrains?
Because it's
I have no idea.
accessible
To less people. Because of the price.
I don't know, man.
But they do without. They just you remove the valves, and that's the cool thing. Like the Explorer.
Oh yeah, they did that.
And,
The RockShox Explorer.
Yeah,
XPLR.
like the Canyon Collective.
Haven't you seen Wheel of Fortune valves cost money?
The what?
Wheel of Fortune.
Oh yeah, they
Valves
do.
cost money.
You're right.
Valves
So it's
cost
cheaper
money,
to have
yeah.
less valves.
Cheaper to have less valves.
Yeah, I thought you said valves, and I was like valves.
I thought
Yeah,
you said
valves.
valves too.
Valves.
Now I'm thinking about tubeless valves.
Okay,
Moving on.
to the next product.
The Yeti 160E.
Wow.
So Yeti Cycles, I mean, they've always been making super high-end premium mountain bikes, but they have their first e-bike, which we made a video on. I got to go out to Colorado and ride that thing, which was awesome. It was a really cool experience. But yeah, their first e-bike, which they spent 5 years developing that thing, right? I was really impressed when I heard that. I guess that is kind of what Yeti wants to do. They don't want to just come in too early with something that's kind of inferior and not well refined. And the 160E was that. It was well refined and well done. We and a lot of people made videos on it, and yeah, it's a cool bike, but they're selling well, and it's something to consider if you're in the e-bike world. And that would be, I guess, kind of the heavier, longer range, more power, whatever we want to, whatever someone
full power,
full size.
full size. Oh, full size, half size.
I like full size, half size.
Yeah.
Personally,
I was
right
thinking
now.
I would like it if it came to boxing. So if you had sort of heavyweights.
Lightweights.
What is? How does? I don't even know how it
I
works.
don't know, lightweight, featherweight.
Lightweight.
I know there's
featherweight.
featherweight and heavyweight. Is there something in between in boxing?
Welterweight.
Welterweight.
Bantamweight.
Oh, no, it's welterweight.
I don't know.
Maxxis used to make tubes called welterweights.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Well, that's embarrassing. We're clearly not boxing.
It's got
fans.
Shimano EP8 motor.
Sorry if we offended you if you're a boxer.
Yep. Shimano EP8 motor, 630
Yeah, big motor,
watt
big
hour
battery,
I think.
long travel.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Serious range
awesome
on it.
bike.
Yeah, there is. So something to look at if you're looking for a premium level high-end e-bike. Next up, Magura MT7 brakes. So we made that YouTube video of, what was it called? Top products of all of 2021?
Yes.
Something like that?
Best of 2021.
Best of 2021.
Best MTB components. Something
Wasn't
like
that
that.
video an hour long? That was a long.
It was a
documentary.
cinema.
That was cinema.
Yeah.
That was the longest YouTube video we've ever made.
Think we can
Yeah.
get next year's in IMAX?
Oh,
Yeah.
we should. Yeah, or maybe even perhaps.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, yes.
Boxing. We have Jamie over here who just gave us the
DJ.
boxing weight divisions: heavyweight, lightweight, middleweight, lightweight, heavyweight, welterweight, light welterweight, featherweight, super middleweight, flyweight. Well, okay, that's a lot.
That's a little in the weeds, yeah.
Yeah, we don't need that many for e-bikes, but
Let's pick
maybe
the three lightest, middle, and heaviest.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Let's just start with the top 3 and then go from there. It's kind of like travel ranges.
Yeah.
Travel ranges started out and then they got more complex.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
either way, the Maguras
The Maguras.
are
Oh yeah, so that's
Great
what we're
brakes.
talking about. The 2021 top products.
4-piston.
Maguras just kind of dominated the mountain bike brake segment
Yeah,
of
which-
that video.
could have been, supply related. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah, the 2021 top products were interesting because there wasn't perfect inventory on all of the products all year long, right?
Of
Where there
course.
sort of had been in years past.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's not. I still give that one to Magura for ending up as some of the top most popular brakes in 2021 because they'd been trending for 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
4 years prior to that, Magura was every year. It was just they were becoming more and more apparent in terms of popular brakes that people were reviewing and riding and buying. So, just something to look at. I've been impressed with them. Aren't you riding Magura brakes on that Forestall?
I am, yeah. It actually came with them, and I was like,
The MT7s in particular?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Came with MT7s. This model did. And I was like, I'll try them. Tried to buy completely stock. And, I just wanted to try them because they are trending and some people really like them. And I had a set of code RSCs set aside. I was like, I'll just throw those on when I'm over these MT7s, and the MT7s are still on there. So,
Yeah, they do work good.
They're
yeah,
legit.
I really
They're
like
pretty
them.
similar to the codes.
Yeah, they have a little bit more bite off the top, which once you get used to it, I actually really like, but they're not like so snappy as Shimano. And they're way more consistent than Shimano. So, yeah.
Nice.
Interesting.
And they have cool levers. Just my
You
take.
can swap out the levers. They have like
They look cool and unique.
yeah, and I don't even know how many aftermarket levers they offer. It's like we're
really?
going back to the 90s with these swappable levers, you know? And like all the pro racers have their own custom ones and stuff. Like Loic and Finn have like custom ones. So yeah,
They're pretty cool.
they're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Well, the next product is the Maxxis Assegai EXO Plus tire.
Popular.
Yeah, it's the most popular Maxxis tire.
Grippy.
Yeah, it is grippy. I mean, that I guess, could you say that's Maxxis's most grippiest tire?
The most grippiest. Well,
most
actually,
grippiest?
the DH or the downhill or double down casing with the max grip compound would be the grippiest.
Oh, yeah?
But yeah, the EXO Plus is max tire.
But the Assegai, just as a model,
is
the
for sure.
grippiest.
Yeah, for
Maxxis.
sure.
Yes.
Maxxis. The grippiest Maxxis. That sounds like a Greek god. The grippiest Maxxis. That should be the next tire. The Maxxis Assegai, spelled Asseggai.
God, maybe
Yep.
spit out
Co-developed
my
with
drink.
Famed World Cup downhill racer Greg Minnaar.
The GOAT.
The goat.
Yeah, they call him the GOAT, the greatest of all time for people who don't know that.
That's right.
But if you don't know what the GOAT means, then you better
Probably
know.
don't watch sports.
You probably should know.
But yeah, Greg Minnaar is the goat.
Yeah, that tire is grippy.
Yeah.
Another thing we made a video about on the YouTubes, and yeah, I think it's impressive.
It's great.
It's not the fastest rolling, not the lightest, but my God, is it grippy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think sticks like Velcro. It is good.
Yeah.
And people love that, and people care clearly more about traction than weight and rolling resistance.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because they're not weight weenies
That's right.
like me.
Thank you.
And then,
Which brings us to our final product. Least but not last.
there you go.
Least but not last.
The famous least but not last.
The Fox XL Mudguard for 36 and 38 forks. Which has a claimed, what was it, 85% more coverage or something crazy?
Over their other fender.
Over the
They
other
made,
fender,
they
which
made
is
an
the
XL
regular.
version
Yeah.
of the Mudguard that has more coverage.
They like one upped their current fender and said that one sucks because this one has more coverage.
Yeah,
But like
this is just a bigger fender.
Yeah, it's
This is
just
the
more
XL
coverage.
Mudguard rather
Which-
than the Mudguard.
I got the fender for my Fox 40, which is like probably the same as this XL one, and then I love it. I mean, it definitely has coverage.
85% more to be precise.
Well, I don't even know
claimed.
if they make a small one for the 40.
They don't.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
whatever. It looks cool.
Yeah.
And it,
Yep.
you know, especially if you live in a muddy area, it's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm surprised these are still so popular in the summertime.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because I shouldn't say that, because in the summertime out in the Southwest,
I was gonna say.
it doesn't rain.
In the East Coast, it rains, right?
Pretty much everywhere in the
Everywhere.
country other than the Southwest,
Yeah.
it still rains in the summer.
Washington's been getting dumped on.
Yeah,
So
so they still need XL Mudguards.
Gosh, your ignorance is showing.
is your least but not last supposed to not make sense?
Yes,
Okay, just checking.
because Jeff likes that.
Well, I thought it was funny because he mixed it up one time in a YouTube video and people never
stuck.
forgot.
We mixed it up on purpose.
I don't know. I think you did that one by
You
accident.
might have had a little bit
knows?
too much of that cup right there.
Last but not
Who
least,
knows? Who
least but not
knows?
last. Speaking of,
The weird things. You know what? You want people to call out any little micro imperfections in how you say something? Have a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
How about that?
That's why I'm not on.
How about
it
that?
anymore. I can't take it. It's not
The
for
weirdest things that people want to just latch onto and comment about.
speaking of videos, we can jump into our first listener question.
Yeah.
With Shark Week coming up, what's your favorite shark and why?
I just have to say I love Shark Week.
Shark Week is rad.
I don't have normal TV, but I'm gonna figure out a way to watch it.
Yeah.
Is that
Me
on
too.
National Geographic?
Discovery Channel?
It's Disney Plus now.
I'm gonna.
Why do we have to figure this out?
Yeah,
Either way,
I think it's I
just
think that's Disney Plus now.
just spilled beans. What's the favorite shark?
I don't really know that many sharks other than the great white or the mako.
I'm going hammerhead.
Hammerhead? Oh, and then there's a sword. Is a swordfish a shark?
I don't
No,
think so, dude.
that's a fish.
It's got to be a swordfish type shark.
I'm gonna say I really like the thresher shark.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
because they have these huge tails, and I've caught one before fishing.
Wow.
I don't know anything about fish, sharks.
You can say hammerhead. Just copy me.
Those are cool.
They are cool.
No, I'm picking the great
Their
white.
eyes are all like crazy.
I'm picking the great white.
Great white. I mean, it's in the name. It's great. Easily a favorite.
Or the mako, because isn't that what Free Willy was?
Oh, I don't know. I know there's a surf camp called the
Wasn't
Malibu
Free
Makos.
Willy a whale?
I thought Free Willy was a mako
I thought
shark.
Free Willy was a whale too.
Well, this is an embarrassing question.
Oh man, We should have done our
asking
research.
A bunch of guys that don't know sharks about sharks.
No, but the thresher sharks are cool because their tails are like as long as their body.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's good. You know that you might be able to win one of those things on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
I just know it because I've caught one before fishing.
You know, Jared, you could be Regis Fieldman. Remember that guy?
Yeah, Regis is the man.
He was good. What happened to that
resembles-
guy?
He died.
I could be.
He did?
Yes, he died.
Did you really?
That's sad. He's a great guy.
Yeah, Regis and
is cool
Kelly.
show.
I would love to be a game show host. One of my second or third grade teacher told me I'd be a game show host one day.
Oh man!
Speaking
All right, we got to move on to the next
speaking
question.
of favorites, what are the crew's favorite bikes currently?
So I'm assuming they mean the crews, as in all the various people at Worldwide. I mean, a lot of people right now ride Revel Rangers, including myself.
Revel Ranger.
Revel Ranger.
Revel Ranger. Revel Ranger. Man, I feel sometimes certain bikes trend. At one point, a lot of people had SB 130s from Yeti.
Yeah.
130 mile travel, 29er.
I've had one of those.
Yep, me too.
Yep. And then at some point, I feel that Yeti SB 115s really trended hard for a bit.
Yep.
Rascals,
Revel Rangers. I think Rail 29s would have trended a lot harder if there was more available inventory, which hopefully there will be soon enough here.
Yeah, moving forward.
soon.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question because right now it's kind of all over the place. You know what might be is the Deviant.
Oh,
Yeah.
popular.
So
It's getting popular.
what's the model name of the Deviant?
The Highlander.
The Highlander.
there
That's
can
right.
only be one.
Well, there's the Claymore.
That's the movie. There can only be one Highlander.
Oh, right over my head. Right over my head. That Deviant is trending a bit. People are stoked on that.
Yep.
It's kind of funny because a lot of the guys in the Pennsylvania store and guys and gals are riding shorter travel bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And the Reno, Nevada store, they're riding longer travel bikes.
Their territory kind of demands that.
Such as the Deviant and even the Transition.
Spire.
The Spire, yeah.
James's Spire.
And then the West Coast store, the California store, it's Rangers and...
We can't really make up our mind here.
Yeah.
We kind of have everything.
Man, there's so much bike switching going on here. It's unbelievable.
Hey,
It's true.
Yeah, look at Jared, not me.
Hey,
You're
come on.
You're just as badly.
you are an
I just
inspiration.
fly.
It's a bike switching.
Well,
madness.
my favorite bike for a long time has been the Revel Ranger.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
currently, I'm really getting along with my new Mondraker Rays.
Oh, you just got one of those, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it too.
I also inspired
yeah,
that.
he did.
RAZE.
Yeah, the
R-A-Z-E.
Rays.
It's
R-A-Z-E.
such a good bike.
150
looks
front, 130 rear.
It's so good.
Looks,
Looks amazing.
I don't know. I mean, looks are like opinionated, but I think it's the best looking bike on the market.
It's amazing. They just make such good looking bikes.
Yeah, Mondraker's designer.
And there's it like the first time I hopped on it, I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
It just felt natural. Like it's got great geo. It's a great weight. I mean, it's the same, if not lighter than my Ranger was.
Well, interesting you say that because didn't you have another Mondraker that you kind of didn't get along with?
Yeah, I had the F Podium, but that's because the shock tune was like super heavy on the compression. And this is more travel. It was a 120, 100 bike, and this is 150, 130. 130 in the rear, 150 up front.
That shock tune on that bike was the first like year of it, and all the reviews said it, and I felt it. You had to ride that bike at like full race pace, or it felt like you were just getting bounced around.
Yeah.
It was a full XC race bike, like a World Cup
Yeah, it
race
was.
bike.
It was.
They later came out with like a downcountry model, which they lightened up the shock tune for the 115 mil travel bike, and then the 100 got the stiff tune. So they did adjust that, but
Yeah. But I loved the way, like, I loved that bike. Just the only, like, that shock was what really turned me off on it. But this bike is like, it doesn't have that whack tune. So it just feels really great.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
But yeah, super capable and lightweight and pretty much all the good stuff for a trail
I
bike.
pretty much built one up to have it as a shop demo, and I rode it, and I KOM'd a local trail on it, like first ride on stock parts, and I literally came back and took all the parts off of it, put my parts on it, and bought it. So
You're like, yep, that's mine now.
that's mine.
Need this.
Yeah, impulse.
Yeah. it's great. And then I just saw Liam's, and I was like, holy Nikes, I need that bike.
Good save.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's amazing.
Well, hopefully that answers the question to some extent. Maybe not. Who knows?
Well, there you go.
Next up is any new stuff from Trail One coming up soon. Trail One Components is a mountain bike component brand that we have an equity stake in, along with BKXC and a seriously highly overqualified engineer. We've been working pretty hard on a lot of the Trail One stuff. It takes a long time to develop things, at least at the quality, price point, and kind of level that we're desiring. We did just release with Trail One 2 new stems, so a different price point, an $80 stem and a $50 stem, the Viking and the Slick Rock, which gives back to trail networks. Viking and Slick Rock are 2 quite well-known trail networks, trails and trail networks that those stems will give back to. So yeah, now Trail One's got a pretty dialed-in cockpit lineup in terms of grips, carbon bars, alloy bars, 3 different price points of varying stems that come at sort of different aesthetics and weight ranges, and also tie rotor bolts in gold or rainbow.
Oh,
yeah.
You gotta have oil slick.
I think I gotta get those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are cool.
Yep.
Yeah, just touch on the stems real quick. Both those $80 and $50 price point stems are fully CNC'd from 6061 alloy. Which is pretty unique.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if that's your price point stem, I think we've completely destroyed the competition on those ones. Yep. Which is cool.
And with a philanthropic aspect.
Yeah, it does. So every single Trail One product purchased, $1 goes towards supporting trail networks around the world. And certain products are named after trails, like the Slick Rock or the Viking, and then certain products are not, and that goes into this, what we call the Trail One Treasury. But yeah, so every single Trail One product supports trail building around the world, which is pretty rad. So yeah, that's been a really fun brand to continue to build and work on, and new products coming out. So we're stoked on that. Definitely good fun so far. Next up, what's the bird costume for?
Oh, well, I think this is regarding
add context there.
Yes, to add context, we posted a story asking for questions, and Jeff held up a bird costume, which leaves us all wondering, what's the costume for? Well, why don't you tell us?
Oh, I don't really know. I thought you were going to answer.
All right. Well, I will.
I don't really know. I thought you were going to answer.
With a bird wheels giveaway, but I don't even know what's happening.
It is a bird wheels giveaway. So yeah.
Bird
different
came
type
out,
of bird, B-E-R-D.
B-E-R-D, bird wheels, which we have also made a video on, have some really unique spokes that they offer to the market, nicknamed like rope spokes. Essentially, they're polyurethane.
Yeah, we talked about them on the last podcast.
Yeah.
Check that one out.
Yeah, they dropped some new wheels, and because of that, we're going to do a giveaway with those new wheels soon. So we have a bird costume to film some funny clips in, and it might...
It's a serious giveaway, though, because you get an entire set of $2,000
wheels.
Carbon rim wheels with bird spokes and 99 hubs, possibly.
So if you listen to podcasts, this is your heads up. You will get closer to winning the wheels if you have a bird costume.
Yes.
And you do some riding clips. You must wear a helmet as well.
Or if you have a lot of feathers and you make your own costume.
That would be cool too.
You probably get extra points for that. But this is your heads up that this is going to go down, and you could potentially be ahead of the competition to win those bird wheels before it even gets posted.
Wow. That's pretty good intel.
All you listeners,
go get some spectacular bird costume and bird ideas going.
Caca. Bird noises will also increase your chances of winning.
And maybe a no-hander with you flapping your wings. But
it's completely subjective because we're judging the contest.
Yes. And don't hurt yourself.
Not a random winner. Random winner contest, suck it.
Yeah.
Because this one is going to be judged.
Speaking of winners, here's an ad. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hello, Jeff here. I wanted to quickly ask you all for a favor. If you've been listening to the podcast for a bit, you know that we own the apparel brand Kettle Mountain. We have been working extremely hard to create premium level mountain bike apparel with a very clean and minimal aesthetic while still keeping features and fabrics as technical and practical as absolute possible. It would mean the world to us if you could check out the Kettle Mountain website. If you get there, feel free to snag 25% off your entire order with the code podcast25. That code will run through the end of August on the Kettle Mountain website, which is ketlmtn.com. Again, that code is PODCAST25. Hop onto the Google machine and type in KETL. Thanks.
Boom.
How often do you clean your bike / lube your chain? Do I really need to wash my bike
after each ride?
After each ride. SoCal-based rider.
Dusty.
No.
Dusty.
No.
Yeah, no. Well, no to what? No to the wash, no.
No to the
Yeah,
wash.
No to the wash.
No to the wash after every ride.
No, I'd actually recommend you don't do that.
Yeah, it's actually kind of good to not do that. Because every time you wash your bike, well, pro tip, don't ever use high pressure water on your bike at all because it blasts into the sealed bearings. So try and avoid that. And then you should, there's definitely some value to cleaning and washing your bike, but you don't want to overwash your bike.
Yeah. I'd say a good microfiber on your suspension and your stanchions, and then keeping your drivetrain properly lubed and clean.
Yeah.
It's also different for everyone.
I was going to say, if your drivetrain is just getting like super gunked up, right? Like if your chain is visibly gunky or your pulley wheels, probably a good idea to just wash it at that point.
Yeah, but to avoid that, use a nice dry lube, wipe it down after, I don't know, depending on how long your rides are. It could be every ride if they're long, every like 3 to 5 if you're just cruising for an hour.
But probably lube it after every ride.
Kind of depends on the miles.
And it depends on what chain lube you're using.
Yeah. I pretty much lube mine before every ride at this point.
What chain lube do you use, Jared?
The Muck Off Bio Dry Lube. I've come to really like that one.
But you have to lube it every ride.
I just do just because I like I like
15 miles.
Yeah, well,
and does it
usually
build
every
gunk?
couple hours. It does not build gunk, which I like. But yeah, I'll just lube it just because I can't stand it when my chain starts to make noise.
Yeah.
I'm not like Zach where I just wear my headphones when my bike starts to make noise.
Bike making noise, wear your AirPods and turn the volume to maximum.
And then you run into hikers and other riders.
Yeah. But
or not, because they hear your horribly sounding bike coming.
And all your creaky pivots and everything.
Yeah, that is a tough balance, right? Because when you're riding more dusty terrain, your bike needs sort of less washing per se. You should always try and keep your stanchions on your, suspension clean, whether that's your fork or your shock. You got to lube your chain. How often? It is kind of based on if you're riding in totally dry conditions or wet conditions and what lube you're using. So,
and how often I guess you're riding.
It's just situational.
If you're riding in mud, you're obviously not going to just ride your bike in mud. I guess some people probably do, but ride your bike and then just leave it. But I guess it's just a good rule of thumb to not let stuff accumulate, and then if you do wash it, then just blow all the water out of the places where it could accumulate.
Yeah,
with an air compressor or something like that.
Yeah, that is a challenging question. I kind of realize why people ask that all the time because it is totally situational based on the lube you use and those things I just previously mentioned.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you do, just keep it greased up and.
I guess maybe rule of thumbs, right? Or figure out how you can not get your bike to get to the point of to where your drivetrain's squealing and squeaking and sounding dried out, but also not totally gunked up.
Yeah. Because I'll lube my chain, but I wipe it off. Yeah. I'll wipe off the excess.
That's just part of the proper lubrication process.
Like clean my chain as I'm lubing it, kind of, and then maybe every couple of weeks, I guess, wash it and do a full degrease and redo it. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're riding like 3 times a week.
Yeah. Hopefully that makes some sense. But you don't want to run things too dry and you don't want to run things all gunked up. And to accomplish both of those, you need to figure out, are you riding in mud or dust, and how many hours you're riding, and what kind of lubricant are you using on your chain?
Yeah.
So, but be gentle with the bike. Keep the stanchions clean. Don't use a pressure washer. Don't blast your hose into your pivots. Don't blast your hose into your hubs, things like that. So
or your cassette, because they'll get in your hubs.
Yeah. And don't get any type of aerosol or lubricants anywhere near your brakes, or you are toast.
Yes.
So little things that make a big difference.
Speaking of toast. Best bang for your buck fork.
It's not even close to toast.
Toast, bread, money? Come on.
We should have gone to the next question.
Just use deductive reasoning.
Well, we have a video about the best forks under $500, and we just redid it.
Yes.
Updated version for 2022. It's
coming soon.
Yes. Coming soon to the youtube.com near you
yes.
in, I don't know, a month or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, that's a tough question, because best bang for your buck fork, is your buck $700 or $200? So I would look at our existing video. RockShox does a fantastic job with kind of the best suspension forks under the $350 price point. I think they dominate that. I think once you get closer to $500, that Mirzoki fork comes into play, which is now owned by Fox, so it's pretty much got all their technology in it. They do a fantastic job there.
Yep.
So various RockShox models. If you're kind of below 350, if you're between 350 and 500, check out some Mirzoki stuff.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that one, Liam?
Nope. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, speaking of
toast, we're
toast,
talking about toast and bread.
What's the best kind of bread to make a grilled cheese with? And I'm just going to go ahead and say sourdough. That's my favorite. Now you make a face there.
I don't know.
You're not a sourdough guy? You're not a grilled cheese guy. It doesn't sound like really healthy enough for you.
I like grilled cheese.
Oh.
But Jeff is going to go only gourmet grilled cheese, probably off of a food truck that costs $13.
What about, you probably use like some sort of like challah or something.
Well, see,
like,
the thing
like
is
French loaf.
is I can enjoy and respect artisan, high quality, well made food, but I don't really know anything about it.
And
it's kind of the opposite of bikes.
I haven't had cheese in about 15 years. So,
well,
you should try some of that new vegan cheese that's made out of nuts.
I don't think he should. I mean, he could, but I don't know if he'll be pleased with it.
Not only did cheese not agree with me, but I never really liked it, so I'm not even bummed that I don't eat it. So
I actually made grilled cheese last night.
Of course you did.
With half pepper jack and half sharp cheddar with sourdough and creamy tomato soup on the side.
Wow.
You know, you always talk about these nice dinners, and I was wondering that if I move closer to you, which I might, can I have some dinners?
Yeah.
But let's just also say that Jeff and I currently live 100 yards away.
On the other side of a fence.
And Jeff's going to move 100 feet away. On the other side of the fence.
Could be good.
Between apartment complexes. But
Yeah.
No. I mean, I wouldn't mind being invited over for some Traeger meat too.
We can,
just throwing it out there.
You should share all these nice meals you make with more people.
All right.
Just your lady friend.
I really appreciate that you think my grilled cheese with tomato soup is a nice meal. But
that sounds delicious.
It was great.
And you talk it up so well.
Yeah. Well, speaking of cheese.
Why does my fork sound like mac and cheese when I compress it?
That's a hilarious question. Why does it?
Well, that is a tough question. I mean, suspension has oil and air and stuff in it, so it makes some noise. But I don't know exactly what his fork sounds like, but the whole mac and cheese thing makes me think that there's an issue. Like there's a positive, negative air chamber, or there's like air leaking into the lowers.
Or the damper needs to be bled.
The damper needs to be bled. There could be something totally... Mac and cheese is a pretty serious sound. I'm just trying to imagine what it would sound like if I was
trying to recreate that.
Stuffing my fingers in and out of mac and cheese. That probably should...
It sounds like...
There might be an issue with...
Your damper should be looked at.
Yeah. Probably needs to be bled.
Yeah.
And serviced. Full service on that bad boy.
There's some air in your oils.
I mean...
Somewhere.
That also kind of sounded like some of those forks, I don't know, that we were messing around with the other day, but...
Yeah, I mean... I guess the sound of mac and cheese, if it truly sounds like the mac and cheese squashing, then there's definitely something going on that needs a rebuild.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if it sounds like oil is moving around seals, then that's probably pretty normal.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without knowing what or how thick your mac and cheese is, we can't really help you.
Or how hard your Okay, let's just move on. Let's just go ahead and go to the next question. What's up with Kettle these days?
Oh,
so Kettle, which I'm sure you've heard if you've listened, if you're a long-time listener, first-time caller.
long-time, first-time.
Long-time, first-time.
Yeah.
It's a mountain bike apparel brand that we own, but not just mountain bike apparel. We're making a lot of stuff that's, we kind of really want the brand to have some pieces that work really well for mountain biking and some pieces that work extremely well for sort of just your general outdoor adventure travel apparel. And we continue to refine the product line and make stuff nicer and nicer and come out with new pieces. And it's going super well, and we're having a ton of fun with it. We definitely, the reason, just for some context, we started worldwide 11 years ago. Man, I was 21 when I pulled the trigger on this whole project.
Oh, you're old.
I'm old, man.
Jeez.
And as we've grown up and learned more about various things in the business world, we want to make sure we're a little bit diversified and have some more control over some of the things we sell, which is why we have an equity stake in Trail One, and why we also are pushing hard with Kettle these days, which we own outright. And that's been really fun. But check it out. Actually, you know what? We're going to wait. They already heard the Kettle ad. According to our notes, they might have already heard the Kettle ad, so they know everything about it. So there's a lot of new stuff going on at Kettle in terms of products. So
very exciting.
I would stay tuned. I think we're making some stuff that our audience, in terms of our audience, which by the data points, just from a pure data analysis standpoint
big
here,
data guy over here,
literally is 97% male between the ages of 25 and 55.
Wow, that's pretty much most mountain bikers, I'd say.
Yeah. But for that demographic, I think Kettle's making a lot of good stuff. So we're stoked on that. Now, how are you gonna move from that to this next question, Jared?
Speaking of switching from topics, how about tips for making the switch from flats to clipless pedals?
That was good. I'll give it to you. That was good.
I try.
Didn't we make a video on this? I feel like we did ages ago. It was more of a flats versus clipless, but And then I think, man, I feel like it was either that video or one of those videos about clipless pedals.
How to set up the Crank Brothers.
Well,
and
not that one.
Detail.
We definitely did an 18-minute video of how to set up Crank Brothers pedals in ridiculous detail, which I think is. That video, it's not amazingly in terms of high views or anything, but people have found that video extremely helpful. Yeah. Maybe we should redo that because, man, that video is ancient. I look like I'm orange. Something happened with the camera.
You were orange.
You just had
I was not orange.
Solid vacation or something before that. I
didn't put on that fake tan lotion.
Yeah, he was fake tanning. He was going to tanning booths.
It's an old video.
One of them influencers.
Like one of them influencers. But yeah, we did have a video about flats and clipless. And in my opinion, I think a lot of things boil back down to what makes you feel most comfortable on the bike. So if you feel comfortable on the bike while you're out riding, you're going to have a better time and ride better and enjoy your experience and maximize your fun. And that's the whole point of riding. So that's kind of my opinion. Don't switch to clipless if you're currently riding flats and you feel super comfortable, and vice versa. Not really a huge.
But
he wanted tips.
But he wants tips.
Yeah. I'll give him tips if you're not giving him tips.
You just basically told him not to switch, and he's asking for tips.
I say ride easy trails and just practice clipping in and clipping out. And make sure
that is good. Those are good tips.
Make sure your cleats are perfectly set up in your shoes. Actually, watch that Crank Brothers video.
Yeah,
set up your cleats properly. And then
that's huge, because if a lot of people do go from flats to clips and they don't set up the cleats properly, and then they're like, I cannot get out of these. This is terrible.
Yeah. And your probably foot will feel weird in terms of its placement on your pedal. And also just don't go ride a super gnarly trail and be like, oh yeah, I'm about to just go for my regular ride or whatever. Go ride something that you would probably never ride, or something way easier than you normally ride, just to practice clipping in and clipping out, right?
Yeah.
And that is a good point.
Depending on pedal model, some pedals you can adjust the tension, how easy it is to clip in and clip out, and setting it loose to learn is highly recommended.
Yeah. Or like Crank Brothers, you can get the easy release versus the regular release. But yeah, make sure your cleats are tight, because if they're loose, then you could get your foot stuck in the pedal, which has happened, and you could fall over and you'll be like, I'm never doing this again. So I
remember when I first did it years ago when I was a teenager, I just put the pedals on, try to dial in my, actually thoroughly read the directions of the Crank Brothers pedals and
You're a big direction reader.
Wow, that's impressive.
I'm a big direction reader.
Wow.
I just think that there's so much, like everything you buy, right? Whether it's Crank Brothers pedals or a laptop or a phone, if you really dig into the manuals and read every word, you will know and learn so much more about that product. And there's a lot of thoughtful things put into all the products around us that we use that we're not truly educating ourselves on. So that's why I do read
Like
directions.
your car.
Like your car, yeah.
Owner's manual.
That's true.
A lot of good information there.
There is.
I've been meaning to thoroughly read mine. I only go to the sections I need, but
Yeah, one day. But I did read that Crank Brothers pedal directions, word for word, and dialed that in, and then I just lean the bike up against the wall and practice clipping in, clipping out. I think one of the weirdest things is that you realize there's certain spots within that pedal stroke there it's easier to clip in and clip out based on right foot or left foot. So you got to learn those, figure that stuff out, and be patient. Over time, you learn how to clip out with the right foot and your left foot based on different scenarios and what's happening. And so you just have to have some patience with it if you really want to move over to clipless pedals. So I guess going back to my whatever you feel comfortable with, you will feel uncomfortable with clipless pedals for a while, no matter what. But if you're serious about it and you want to move over, then deal with being uncomfortable. Limit it by setting up your pedals and cleats properly and practicing on, with the bike against the wall, riding easy trails, like you said, and you'll get there.
Yeah.
So a little bit of patience and education on the product goes a long way when it comes to that.
Yeah. I would say one more also, like, preemptively unclip when you're coming to a stop. Yeah. Don't wait until you come to a stop to go and unclip, because like you might hesitate or fall over, and again you'll be like, screw this, bad experience, forget it. But yeah, clip out like as you're coming to a stop. That's a great tip.
Yep.
On the flip side, I feel equally uncomfortable when I ride flats on technical mountain bike terrain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, once you get used to riding clipless pedals for years and years, then you're going to feel really uncomfortable riding flats.
Yeah.
So.
Which, like, I was in Mammoth. I switched back to flats for the first time in a long time. And my first round, I was like, wow, my feet are bouncing around. This is crazy. But then I didn't even think about it. Like, the one thing is your foot moves around sometimes, which is like the one thing for me, which I don't like. But if you get your feet in the right place, then like you're used to it, and then it feels good. Because I actually do like, the interface on a flat pedal. Like, you feel like you can you can pump into the bike a little more for me. I don't know,
well, flat pedals, you tend to lean like your toes point up a little more. I guess you kind of lean more into your heels, whereas if you're clipped in, you kind of do the opposite of that. You kind of lean a little more into your toes, depending on what you're doing, and then you kind of develop a form with where your feet are, depending on what you ride the most often.
That's true. But yeah, I just felt a little more confident, I guess, like after getting used to it, and less hesitation, like coming up to a feature or like a drop or a sketchy turn, just like knowing that you can just jump off or whatever.
Definitely.
But yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Some good tips.
Some good tips.
Yeah.
And now a quick ad of Trail One stuff before we jump into the last couple questions.
Oh.
And then say goodbye.
Oh.
Here we go.
Woo. And now a word from our sponsors.
Hello, mountain bikers. Jeff again. Something I personally believe in is that businesses should be operating in a way that supports the industry they're in and generally doing good for the world in their own unique way. This was largely the idea behind Trail One Components. Trail One was an idea that spawned years ago to build a brand that creates top-shelf mountain bike components while simultaneously giving back to trail networks. Worldwide Cyclery has a stake in Trail One alongside Brian Kennedy, aka BKXC, as well as one highly overqualified engineer. We have made some components so far that we are extremely proud of and that nail down exactly what we have always wanted ourselves on our own bikes. We would be forever grateful if you checked out Trail One Components to scope out what we have to offer. As a thanks, use the code PODCAST25 to snag 25% off your entire order at checkout. You can shop Trail One on the WC site or at trailone.bike. Again, that code is PODCAST25, and it will run through the end of August. Thank you, and good night.
And now, back to the show.
All right, Jared, read us the last question.
All right. Well, this is a crazy world, but if you lived in a world where mountain bikes either didn't have suspension or didn't have drivetrains, which one would you choose? And I interpreted this as it would be a single speed. But Jeff thought this would be a world where you had no chain or anything.
Yeah, I mean, didn't have drivetrains. A single speed is still a drivetrain.
I guess so.
And full suspension bikes can't really even be single speed.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, sort of, but not really.
Can with attention.
Does that mean I could still have a gravel bike with a drivetrain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You either don't have suspension or you didn't have. So you could have.
I could have a gravel bike
You
with
could
a
have
drivetrain.
So
a
basically, you could
rigid
have
bike
Jeff's
with a
gravel
drivetrain.
bike.
Or a down and what if I had a gravel bike with a drivetrain and a downhill bike with no drivetrain?
It says or.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This world where your mountain bike, I mean, is gravel bike, mountain bike? I don't know. This gets pretty technical. I mean, personally, I'm gonna go no drivetrain because then I could just go ride Whistler and ride all day on my.
Well, that's crazy though, because then on the daily, what are you gonna do for your daily mountain bike ride?
What do you do
push your
from-
bike
I
up
guess
a
I'd be
hill and
screwed.
then
What do you
coast
do
it
from
down?
November to May? You just sit around and get fat?
But then I'd have Jeff's salsa cutthroat.
No, you can't have either though.
No, on the daily, I would live in this other world.
These worlds
Jared-
suck.
Jared clearly wants his cake and to eat it too.
I want my cake.
We all do. We're mountain
I
bikers.
know, but okay, I would move to Whistler and I would have a downhill bike, and then I would ride that in the summer and I'd ski in the
Ski and
winter.
snowboard all winter.
Yeah,
Well,
That's what I would do.
I would choose no drivetrains because after riding
no,
my,
you're choosing a suspension. You said
well,
no
it's the same
drivetrains.
thing.
No,
Oh, son of a!
You'd have no suspension.
Now
you
I'm
would choose
just
your
confused.
salsa cutthroat as well.
I would
Your
choose
bike you already have.
I would choose the bike I already have. Yeah, after riding that salsa cutthroat, which is what do they call it? Like a drop bar mountain bike. It was made for that Continental Divide race, that big
Yeah,
bikepacking
it's
race.
it's like a bike pack racing bike.
It's essentially a rigid mountain bike. They spec it with drop bars. Salsa does. I put flat bars and a dropper post on it. So it's a rigid mountain bike with flat bars and a dropper post.
And 42
700 by 42 C tires.
45s.
And
45s.
it's incredibly light and super fast and really fun. And I can do these huge long rides on it and still ride pretty decently gnarly, single track on it that you'd ride a normal mountain bike on. And I just think that bike is really enjoyable and fun to ride. And I just think that I could ride so many more days in so much different terrain that it'd be worth it. I could give up my suspension
Wow.
and just ride that if I had to. I mean, I don't want to. I would like to have a whole bunch of bikes that did all different things, different suspension ranges. Anyways, but that's what if I had to, I would probably stick with that bike.
Liam?
Well, I also interpreted this question at first as having single speed. And at first, I was like, oh, I'll run single speed full suspension all day long and just, suffer up climbs. But then Jeff said, no, it means no chain at all.
Because it didn't say didn't have gears. It says didn't have drivetrain.
So if we're talking like I basically have a full suspension scooter or a rigid mountain bike, I'm going to go rigid mountain bike because, I pretty much ride a rigid mountain bike as my gravel bike all the time, and I ride stupid stuff on it already, and no one's forcing me to do that. So I would go that route.
All right. Well, there you have it.
But man, a chainless downhill bike at Whistler sure is fun.
I did break a derailleur at Whistler one day, and I did like 3 or 4 A-line laps, no chain.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
And it was
very
awesome.
common.
I'm pretty sure the locals have chainless races down A-line.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing.
Wow.
I remember meeting a local there. It's awesome dude who worked at a pizza shop there, and he broke his derailleur weeks and weeks prior before meeting him, and he's like, I don't have any money for a new drivetrain, so I'm just riding chainless. And I rode with him the whole day. Just like befriended him on the chairlift, and I was also riding solo, and we just rode all these trails, and he just literally, like you said, a scooter, he would just kind of push his bike into the trail, and then he would just shred.
That's amazing.
And you could pull it off there, fine.
A-line, Dirt Merchant, a lot of the other trails.
You don't have to pedal.
Yeah, you literally do not have to pedal.
Yeah.
A-line, I actually was trying to not pedal. Well, I couldn't pedal. I didn't have a chain, and also not brake. And pretty much until the A-line tech section, there's like 2 corners you have to like scrub a little brake on, and that's it. You can ride that whole trail almost chainless, brakeless.
They know how to build them.
Insane.
Yeah.
So,
Jeez.
Yeah, Whistler's world class with how they build their trails, and if there was ever a place to have a chainless bike, it would be Whistler,
Yeah,
hands down.
for sure.
Yeah, of all places to
but
recommend.
you know what's the best part about this? We can have bikes with drive chains and really awesome suspension.
Yes. We don't live in this world.
Gracias, Jesus. I love this world.
Oh.
Well, if you've made it this far into the podcast, we genuinely thank you and love you. And we appreciate you listening and enjoying all of this worldwide cyclery content. You must really like mountain bikes and learning about them. And hopefully you think we're as funny as our moms think we are.
And we think we are.
And we think we are. I don't really know what else to say. Thank you and good night.
Good night and good luck.
What's that from? Thank you and good night.
I don't know.
It's like a newscaster thing, isn't it?
Sounds like
thank you and good night.
Good night, San Diego.
Some Jim Carrey.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, I like that one.
Thank you and good night, San Diego.
Love ya.